Backslash. I have always seen things that no one else seems to see. I live in a one-story house with an attic. My father built the house so I don't have to worry that anyone died in it before I came to live here. One of my earliest recollections would be when I was around the age of 3 years old. At the time my parents thought of this as nothing more than figments of my imagination, but they were too real to me. At night there would always be a woman in a white cotton nightdress with long dark hair that covered her face against the wall close to one of the doors. Next to the end of the bed, there would be a suit of armor without the head, usually. In between the both of these things would be a mass of black that would dart about but never get too close to either of the figures. After a few years I stopped seeing them and was able to peacefully sleep. The next one I remember would be around the age of 7. I started noticing that I would see these shadow people, animals out of the corner of my eye. Whenever I would turn to look at them they would either disappear or move out of my line of sight, and when investigating if they were still there I would find nothing. When I was younger I used to go across the street and spend the night with them. They had 2 little blonde-haired girls and a blonde-haired boy at the time. I was laying in between both the girls on the crevice of the 2 beds we had pushed together. They were both asleep and so was the little boy with their parents. I was looking out the door to the little bit of the hallway I could see when I saw a little girl who looked like the eldest girl from the back go into the room across the hall from me. I had heard their mom talking about how she would see this little girl walking around the house and didn't believe her, and now when I stay over there it feels strange to not see her disappear around corners and in rooms. The next thing would be with my nephew. He had been in his room playing before the family sat down for dinner. When he came in he said, "Mommy, there's a little boy in my room and he's sad." When questioned why the little boy was sad he replied, "Because his daddy died." 30 minutes later my nephew's dad went out to close the gate and was stabbed in the side. I was at home when we got the phone call and my mom rushed to the hospital. While sleeping I had a dream that he left and I wasn't going to see him again for a long time. When I awoke I knew that he had died before my mom told me. About a year ago I was sitting in the living room watching TV with my parents when I suddenly heard my radio in my bathroom come on. I thought nothing of it at the time and continued to watch TV. A few minutes later the radio went off and instead I heard what sounded like children giggling in the playroom. This time I got up to investigate and found nothing. I had recently stopped hearing or seeing anything and it stayed that way for a little over a month. Around 2 months ago I was laying in bed looking at my ceiling when I heard 3 loud bangs on my door. I got up to investigate and found that everyone was still asleep. 2 days later I was laying on my bed again and felt it be shoved and I was home alone at the time. I like to think those were the ghosts or whatever these things are telling me that they are still there. These sightings have continued through my life and I'm now 16 years of age. They don't scare me but I would like to know if anyone else experienced this sort of thing as well.